I go to the doctor, and they cut off the cast, and so now I'm in a sling. And so I'm like, Doc, how long before I can play? And the doctor's like, X amount of weeks or a month, I remember it was. I'm like, cool. So I went ahead and I took this show in Atlanta. I think it was in February of 2021. It was either February or March. I know it was early on in the year, maybe late March. And so, and because I'm like, I'll be fine. I remember I didn't practice because I just didn't want to put any strain on my hand. I didn't even want to test it out. I was like, when I get there, I'll test it out. Man, when I tell you I got to that show and sound check, I had so much pain in my um I could have cried. A grown man could have cried. And then the show starts and I'm in so much pain I can't even hardly play. Man, I've never done so much singing at a show, at my show, uh, ever. That show, I had to do something because I couldn't really move my hand. I don't know why I scheduled this show to do. Actually, it was in Atlanta at a place called St. James Live, man. And I'm on stage thinking to myself, you idiot, why don't you just give yourself enough time to heal? But I was just so eager to get out there because it's like I'm being locked up for a year. I mean, I want to play, but yeah, that was how that went. I will never forget that, and we'll never do that again. So we're still in 2021, and I remember I told you guys that that record contract wasn't a great one. Even though they did, I would give them props. They did, give me the exposure. But later on, man, I found out, you know, you're in the jazz genre. You don't even need a label. I'm just being honest. You need a radio promoter. Some people need um, uh, uh, a booking agent, and you got to do a lot of your own. Um, you got to do a lot of your own. What do you call that? I'm drawing a blank. Your own advertisement. You gotta spend money, and you gotta do that yourself. You gotta get creative. And so I had reached that point in 2021 where my record, uh, my contract was finally up. It was finally up. I finally fulfilled, and I had one more album to put out, and I'm like, all right. I knew 3 years, 4 years prior that once I fulfilled my obligations, I wasn't coming back. I wasn't going to re-sign. They could have threw even more, thousands of more dollars at me. I'm not, wasn't going to do it because at this point, I know my worth, and I want to own my music, own my music. So records. Let me go look. So because I want to give you guys the right information. So my first album with them was Breakthrough, and so after Breakthrough, we had Limitless, uh, Bonafide, Supreme, Chapters of Love, and yeah, I think I'm missing one in there. I can't even think of it, but I fulfilled my obligation. So I turned in one last album, and I was done. And I vowed to myself, I'm never gonna sign with a label. I'm gonna own my masters because those albums I don't even own the masters to. I don't own the masters to, and I'm giving you guys some enlightening you giving you guys some behind the scenes stuff that really, that goes on that you guys don't see. And so, don't own the masters to those albums, which sucks because that was some of my best work. And, you know, being in year 16, it's not like, I'm not losing sleep because I have a lot in the tank. I got a lot of music that's not even been released yet. So I'm going to build a whole new catalog. Anyway, so uh, I turned in my last project, my last album, which was Chapters of Love. Um, you know, obviously they didn't want me to leave, but I was gung ho on leaving, and I'm glad I did. Um, I would like to buy my masters back, but there's no response when I ask. So um, I was happy, and I had already in 2021 when I made the decision to leave. I already had my next album, which was solo, my first album post uh, post label. Um, my hits, Take That, Bust a Move, man, love those songs. I already had that album pretty much as far as written and produced already done. By that time, I'll just wait. I could not wait to get that album out in 2022 because it's like solo mean for me. That name meant for me like finally I'm back to being solo, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You eat what you kill. And that was like that even with being signed to a label. We had to get our own gigs. We had to uh, call promoters and this genre. A lot of some people do have booking agents, which not against booking agents or anything, um, but if you're a promoter and I have a relationship of doing business with you, you can just come to me directly. And people say, well, a booking agent would get you the most money. Well, I pretty much got this thing down to a science, especially for been in this thing 16 years, you know. And so you come to me directly, I negotiate, I know what I want, I know what I need, and it's cut and dry and we're done with it. No middleman interference or anything like that. Now, depending on just how big the job is, yeah, I can see myself doing that at that point. But so far, my manager has been God Himself. My booking agent has been God Himself. When I tell you guys, I've been this long without a booking agent, and God Himself continues to open up doors. I have great relationships with a lot of promoters out there, with a lot of festivals out there, and you put on a good show, you bring down a house, you're going to be in rotation as an artist. I'm telling you the truth. If your show is good, you will be back, and you're already in the rotation. You just got to never be complacent. Never, "Oh, I made it, so I can just you know some of them, the ones that's been out a long time, they can do that. But if you're like me, I'm still aiming to be better than I was yesterday, better than I was a year ago. I'm not satisfied, never satisfied. So I turned Chapters of Love in, I put out solo. It's thank you, God. So solo was out and it's doing great. It's doing very well. Almost had a song go number one, but I told you the previous label decided to put out an old song from an album 5 years prior, just to slow down my spins, because I would have had two number ones on that album of Solo. That's how that stuff works. So I'm letting you guys know that's how that stuff works. It's no lie. So I was like, I'm cool, because if you're in a if you're your song is in the top five, and you're getting continual radio play, you're gonna make the money from radio and things like that. So, I think especially jazz artists, you see they make a lot of noise, and make it a big deal of having a number one. Yeah, it sounds good, and it does look good. I'm not not throwing any shade about it, because I have 12 of them. I have four as an artist and eight more as a feature. So, but I think some new artists can get so focused in on just number one. Got to get number one, where you should be focusing on building your audience, building your fan base. Because that's what's going to support you throughout your music career, not a number one. I know a plethora of guys who got a number one, but no shows, no gigs. That is a Billboard number one cannot be your focus. Building your brand, getting better as an artist, putting out the best music you can possibly, getting it mixed by the best as you possibly can. Nothing worse than a great song and a bad mix. Okay, those are the things that are most important. Building your audience. And also, while you're building your audience and building yourself, building your confidence, the radio and number ones would take care of themselves. Trust me, it take care of itself. That's what you have to focus on. So that album did great. And then 2023 came. And well, let me slow down. 2022, that album, like I said, was great. Put out 3 singles on that album. All did great. Coasting, Take That, and Bust a Move. And so later on in that year, I told you how I'm like, man, when is all this family thing, or when am I going to find a wife? So later on that year, I met a gal. Yes, that's right. I met a young lady.